You officially joined the city of Chicago, man. How was your dibs fight? Do you have any?
It was all melted by the time I moved in. So
you're not missing anything, brother. You're about to know why people call it summertime shy.
It's cutthroat.
Wonderful. So again, we got a packed agenda. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but more importantly, we're going to celebrate all the victories that these powerful women have accomplished, and many more who are going to do amazing things in the next cycle. Some of them are running for positions in the greater suburban county. Others are running for positions statewide. Some of them are running for positions in local cities. Every person running that's been endorsed by our revolution is doing amazing work. And so we know that we are out there making sure that we continue to support not just the progressive women, but also those who are out there knocking doors every single day for these champions. We got Abe from Bridgeport. How's it going on in Bridgeport, Abe?
Going great. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here, as it is everywhere else. And it's a wonderful thing to cap it off with such amazing guests here.
Absolutely. And of course, Abe, you know, the daily time is gone in Bridgeport. It's now time for the 11th Ward IPO, and Abe Matthews is doing amazing work out there.
Times they are changing, my friend.
They are changing, absolutely. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm going to pass the mic to my good friend, my sister in arms, someone who's done amazing work and continues to push the envelope so that we have progressive power everywhere, including in Will County and Joliet, my sister, Susana Ibarra.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Our Illinois Revolution Organized Twin Call. My name is Susana Ibarra. I'm the co-chair of Our Illinois Revolution and chair of the Will County Progressives. And I will be hosting your call for tonight, along with board member and downstate chair and my sister in arms, Georgia De La Garza. We are celebrating International Women's Month and have some late-breaking news and exclusive updates from women progressive champions in Illinois. And I'm actually going to throw this over to Peter Janko, who is going to talk about something very exciting that happened. Peter, take it away.
Okay, hello, everybody. Okay, I guess Michael Madigan needs no introduction here, but it's an amazing victory for us. We finally have somebody that is not a machine insider. So finally, we're going to break out from underneath the thumb of the Madigan machine, which brings in a wonderful new day. But I want to add something to this story that's kind of amazing. I'm going to take you back a little bit of history. Back in the 2018 primary race, 13 Our Revolution candidates decided to challenge Democratic Party of Illinois State Central Committeemen incumbents. It was a wild race. A lot of people busted their butts. The machine actually spent over $330,000. That's what it cost them to defend against us. And but we had a lot of volunteers turn out, right? And the interesting thing is the media was playing this like it was a proxy war, actually, Durbin and JB. And an interesting thing happened is that the vote was so close that any state central committeeman or committeewoman, if they would have voted for Michelle Harris, Madigan's choice, Robin Kelly wouldn't be our new chair. And the interesting thing about that is I was the lone candidate out of all of them that won. And at the time,
Did we lose Peter?
We did.
Okay, that's fine. So our revolution played a key role in helping Robin become the first woman and the first Black person to lead the party. with a true progressive and top leadership and members getting ready to build a state party that reflects the growing progressive power in the state. Next month on April 19th, Robin Kelly will be our guest and catch us up on all the changes we can expect from the Democratic Party and what's happening in Congress. So get ready, mark your calendars, April 13th. We have some special guests on our call tonight, starting with Greene Welch, president of Illinois National Organization of Women, talking about ERA. Also, State Rep Mary Flowers, who will talk about our new speaker, Chris Welsh, fair tax, the Black Caucus, and cash bail. State Rep Theresa Mah, who will talk about tax loops, ending corruption with reforms at Chicago School Board, and State Rep Dagmara Avelar, who will talk about immigration. But before we get to that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend and sister in arms, Georgia, who will give us a quick update on the work that our revolution is doing across the country. Take it away, sister.
Thank you so much, Susanna. 2021 promises to be a year we can make real progress on our progressive agenda, but only if we organize to win. But before we get going, I want to remind everyone that we're still in the midst of our very first membership drive. We're asking our supporters to officially join our revolution. If you've already become a member, we thank you. Tell us why you joined in the chat. But if you haven't signed up yet, you can join by clicking the link that we're dropping in our chat. Become a member. It's great to have a carry-in card and say, look, I'm part of this revolution that's happening. It's happening now. Let's start with our political report. Even though 2021 isn't a midterm or presidential election year, it's not an off year for us. This year, there's hundreds of races and where we're helping to elect progressive champions up and down the ballot. And just last week, our Revolution St. Louis helped an entire slate of progressives running for mayor and city council seats advance on the general election in April. It was a great thing to see. Our wins in Missouri come after progressives also won big here in Illinois, like our own Susanna here in her slate. From the mayor of Evanston to the treasurer of North Chicago, a new wave of progressives are going to be taking office, and you know it. Electing progressives matter. Down ballot matters. Last week, Eli Savitt, who was elected to be in the Washtenaw County prosecuting attorney with the support of Our Revolution Michigan, joined our state organized to win call to update us on his work. Since taking office in January, Eli has taken action to end cash bail, stopped working with ICE on immigration enforcement, and prosecuted violence based on gender and sexual orientation as hate crimes. Woohoo! We're also working hard to elect our very own Nina Turner to become part of the squad in Congress. You know we're going to too. Speaking of Congress, let's talk about how we're fighting for progressive policies in Washington. We applaud passage of COVID relief for millions who lost their jobs and others who are being paid poverty wages. We're a little disappointed that even with the 4-year transition period, $15 was dropped. As Joseph Genovese, our executive director, told NBC's News, it's political suicide for Democrats to walk away from workers. It's modern day slavery, right? It's a lie to tell low-wage workers that Congress will pass a standalone bill, the Raise to the Wage Act. There is zero chance of a Senate vote on anything more than a token raise like $10 or $11 due to the Senate filibuster. The game is not over. There will be a second budget bill this year, which will need only 50 votes. Our revolution will mobilize now for tax penalties to be included in that bill on all bottom-feeding corporations that don't pay $15. We won't let the parliamentary make excuses. We will expect the White House to fight for $15, not to mention it and drop it. Also this week in Congress, we supported the introduction of legislation to make sure ultra-rich pay their fair share in taxes. And our members helped pass H.R. 1, the For the People Act in the House. The legislation will strengthen voting rights and shore up democracy. We also passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and legislation to end qualified immunity for rogue police officers. But as we've seen with the Fight for 15, we can't rely on GOP support to get our agenda passed in the Senate. That means we must end the filibuster to stop the Republican minority from blocking For the People Act, the George Floyd Act, and other progressive priorities from becoming law. Our revolution is working with Fix the Senate coalition right now to end the filibuster and restore democracy to the Senate. Join us at the link in the chat. Thank you, Susanna, and I'm going to pass it back to you for an update.
Yay, now an update on how we're fighting for progressive policies locally. Just this past week, we have had some significant victories. Cannabis reform was signed into law in New Jersey, and we're proud that Illinois became the first state to end cash bail. Yay! Speaking of needing cash bail, Christine Lara and Texas student organizers were in the dust with the police this week while protesting the firing of faculty at Collin College in McKinney, Texas. They were fired for organizing union voices and criticizing the school's COVID response. The truth is the GOP does not like us protesting. That's why our Revolution Florida members rallied in Tallahassee last week to demand the legislators kill Governor Ron DeSantis' anti-protest bill. They silenced and criminalized Black protesters who excused their First Amendment rights in a pursuit of racial justice. Florida is among 11 states to pass similar legislation. Our Revolution Maryland is celebrating the passage of the extension of the Earned Income Tax Credit to allow all low-income tax-paying residents, regardless of immigration status, making Maryland one of the few states in the nation to treat undocumented people as people. And finally, talking about transforming the party, our Revolution is the only group working to change the Democratic Party into a progressive party. Since January, we've elected progressives to party positions in Colorado, California, Maine, Florida, and Michigan. And just last week, our Illinois Revolution members mobilized to elect U.S. Rep. Robin Kelly to be the new chair of the Illinois Democratic Party. During our Revolution California statewide meeting, Amar Shergill, chair of the California Democratic Party Progressive Caucus, spoke about how the party chair, Rusty Hicks, disqualified thousands of ballots with valid postmark. But we fought back. The Progressive Caucus had enough votes on the state party executive board to overrule its decision. And this is how we changed the party, Amar said. Become a member. We're going to drop the links in the chat on how to become a member. It is so crucial to our work and what we do to have all of you as members. If you need more incentives, we have two more. First, every member will receive a personalized Movement Builder membership card in the mail designed by internationally renowned illustrator Lauren Rowling, who's the volunteer leader of our Revolution Nashville. And as a reminder, if you have any questions tonight, be sure to drop them in the chat. And I would just like to say, this is Women and Women First. And I probably could not have a better guest than President of the National Organization of Women, Greene Welch. Greene Welch played a huge part with me, our Rev, and 48 other groups worked in coalition to unseat Daniel Lipinski in Illinois District 3 and to help Marie Newman get elected. So I'm inviting my friend and my comrade and sister in arms, Greene Welch, and I would like her to talk a little bit about some of the things that she's working on. So welcome, Laura. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Susanna. Always my sister at arms. I will do a sit-in anytime you want.
Yay.
I will get hit on the head by any anti-choice guy anytime.
Yay.
That's a long story, but thank you very much, and I appreciate taking a few minutes of your time to tell you a little bit about the National Organization for Women and our chapter here in Illinois. As Susanna mentioned, I am the president of our state chapter here in Illinois. The National Organization for Women has been around since the 1960s. I'm sure you all recognize our round signs, the big now sign. Whenever you see a good protest, there's always at least, 20, 30, 40, 50 now signs in there. So we've been around for a long time. We started with chapter in Chicago, in New York, and we happen to have our second chapter here in Chicago. I can tell you a little bit about what we're working on here in Illinois.
I have some questions for you. Is that okay, Laura?
Yeah.
So parental notice of abortion is an issue that affects many young women in Illinois. Can you tell us more about the effects of this requirement?
Yes, absolutely. The Parental Notification of Abortion Act was enacted many, many years ago and started effect in 2013. It's a very dangerous bill for young people who are looking to seek an abortion, who don't have support, perhaps at home. And so what we're hoping to do is repeal this so that a young person can seek an abortion without having to provide notification of their parents. Now, a lot of people get very upset about that, but there are reasons why a young person may not be able to tell their parents or their family, whether it's an abusive situation, whether it's a situation where the person could get kicked out of their home. There could be violence. There are just a myriad of reasons why it's a very dangerous bill. A person right now who is pregnant can seek a judicial bypass. However, that can also be incredibly difficult. If the abuse is happening at home, how can they get out of the house to get to a judge? If they live in a small town, people find out. There are, again, just a myriad of reasons why getting to a judge is difficult. And then having to, as a young person, speak about your sex life to someone who you don't know can be very intimidating. And so for those and many, many other reasons, we want to repeal the Parental Notification of Abortion Act, because when you get down to it, you cannot legislate family values. And so that's one of the main bills that we're working on this year. And I encourage you to go to ilnow.org to get more information on where you can get information on these and other bills that Now and Illinois Now is working on.
Let me ask you another question, if you don't mind. Can you tell us about the proposed REACH Act in Illinois and how it would improve health education in Illinois?
Yes, we have two bills that are somewhat similar, the REACH Act and the Illinois Healthy Youth Act. There are very similar notions that we want to. Can you get the dog? Sorry, my dog is. You get Sophie. Updating language to be more medically appropriate, more age appropriate, more developmentally appropriate. The bills, the Illinois Healthy Youth Act will focus on young people in grades 6 through 12. It would be a mandated sex ed. Nope, I'm sorry, got that mixed up. It is not a mandated bill, but it basically states that if sex ed is taught, these are the standards that need to be adhered to. And if sex ed is taught K through 5 as well, the standards need to be adhered to. The REACH Act would be a mandated bill, and it does encompass already K through 12. Now, the thing that puts people off about this is they think that we're going to be teaching kindergartners how to use condoms, and that's not the case. We're basically teaching them, that this is my body, you cannot touch it, how to find a safe adult, how not to be a bully, how to support your friends. And it kind of, as they get older, it encompasses more appropriate language that is inclusive, both of LGBTQ young people, as well as young people with different abilities. And so it's very important that we get either one of these bills passed. It is imperative.
Okay. So this one, these are all really important issues, but this last one here, the Equality Act is something the legislatures have been trying to pass since 1970. Recently, the House voted to pass the Equality Act. What would this mean for President Biden to sign this into law?
For so many of my friends, for so many of my family members and people that I don't even know, it gives them the comfort of knowing that things cannot be taken away. I have friends that say that they've been together for 40 years, but married for 3. I have family members that are disqualified from sometimes just existing. And so once we get the Equality Act finally ensconced in our country, we know that the rights that everybody has are the rights that everybody has. There's just no reason at all to discriminate on one aspect of a human being. None at all.
And we're getting involved because I'm meeting with my state rep with some of the first legislation that we talked about. How can others get involved too and help with that?
Yes, that is a huge thing. We are really searching for folks that live in a variety of districts here in the state of Illinois. We find that even those that are staunch supporters of our progressive issues, whether it's reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, immigrant rights, that it's the constituents that need to do the talking. So if you are interested in working with us and talking to your legislator, some of you are not lucky like I am to have such great legislators, you can reach out to Susanna or you can contact me through ilnow.org. And I will be happy to work with you in contacting your legislator and providing any information. If you've never done it, it's actually very empowering. So I want to encourage you to go to ilnow.org, ask to connect with me, or like I said, go through Susanna and we'll get you involved.
I want to thank you so much for being here. And I want to just quickly tell a story about how we met.
Oh, no.
My sister-in-law, who was murdered 15 years ago, they do take back the nights here in Will County. And I met Laura for the first time ever at one of the take back the nights where they were memorializing my sister-in-law, who was stabbed to death by an abusive boyfriend. So all of these issues are very important to me. They're very important to Laura. And I just remember crying and it was very emotional. And Laura just like put her arms around me and just, that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And
you're making me cry.
Yeah, I'll never forget that moment. And this is about honoring women. So I want to let you know that I have something that I will be getting to you. I want to honor you for all the work you've done. I think you are simply one of the most amazing women I've ever met in every way. So thank you so much for being with us. And we will definitely be shooting some people your way to meet with their state reps on this very important legislation. But I love you to pieces.
Love you. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, thank you. And now I'm going to throw it over to Georgia and just remind everybody that if they have any questions, to please drop them in the chat. So Georgia, take it away.
Good. As a reminder, put your questions for our speakers in the Q&A section. And if you're watching on Facebook, drop them in the chat. If you're calling in, press *3 to submit a question or to sign up to volunteer or donate or become a member. Our second guest is State Representative from the 31st District, as well as Deputy Majority Leader, Mary Flowers. Clint Balanoff, who couldn't be here tonight because he just joined the Grandparents Club and is in California right now with his sweet first grandchild, sends his regards to you, Mary. Mary is the Dean of the House, having served since 1985. A progressive champion, she has supported increasing the minimum wage, fought tirelessly for healthcare for all, and until then making it more affordable. Supported our friend Chuy Garcia for mayor in 2015, and much, much more. Welcome, Representative Flowers. Are you there, Representative? Did Representative Mary make it on the call?
It looks like she might have dropped off. We might want to go to the next guest.
Okay, let's do that. Hold on here. Let's get that going. All right. So let me go down here to the next guest, which I was also looking forward to meeting. Our next guest is a state representative for the 2nd District. Theresa is the first Asian American to serve in the Illinois House. She received her doctorate degree in social and cultural history, race and ethnicity, Asian American history from the University of Chicago. Let's welcome Dr. Theresa Mah. Hello, Theresa.
Hi there. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to start off with a question. There have been many calls for legislative reform, especially in light of the ComEd scandal, which for all practical purposes brought down former Speaker Michael Madigan. A recently published report by the University of Illinois of Chicago lists Illinois as the 2nd most corrupt state in the country and Chicago as the most corrupt city. How do we end this tale of corruption and what reforms are necessary?
So first of all, I just want to say hi to everyone. I'm really happy to be on this call and to have the chance to say hi to all of you. I'm a proud member of the Illinois Progressive Caucus in the Illinois House. I'm one of the co-chairs. I'm also one of the co-chairs of the Asian American Caucus. And also the Women's Caucus, since this is Women's History Month, I'm proud to be a member of one of the biggest women's caucuses in any state legislature. We are 39 women strong, 52% of the House Democratic Caucus, and it's fitting to be a guest here today as part of Women's History Month. But in response to your question about ethics reform, I think it's really important to get an ethics reform bill passed in the legislature this year. And earlier today, we had a House Democratic Caucus meeting in which the new Speaker, Chris Welch, stated his commitment to working with all of us to make sure that we get an ethics reform package passed. Representative Kelly Burke is the chair of the committee, and we are committed to continuing the work started last year under leader Greg Harris, who led the Ethics Reform Commission, and we're going to put together something that makes sense and that helps people of Illinois restore their confidence in their elected officials at the state level. So we have to get something done this year. We're all committed to it. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to email me, and I will pass those suggestions on. My email is teresa@teresamah.com. Feel free to, send along your suggestions.
Yeah, thank you for being so open for anyone to do that. I think that's important to have, ask everyone to be at the table there. I think that's really important. Chicago's the only city in Illinois without an elected school board, which you've been very supportive of. How do we get there? And will it be done in this session, in your opinion?
I sincerely hope that it will get done this session. I'm committed to, voting again on a bill this session. I think that there is some promise because, there's a new president of the Senate. I think that, the last bill got stuck in the Senate. We may have more support in that chamber. So I'm hopeful, and I continue to be committed to supporting a bill. We definitely need to make a change and have an elected school board in Chicago.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like the Illinois legislature is poised to end some corporate tax loops, some loopholes. Let's talk about that. That was passed in 2019. What more can be done to take some of the tax burden from individual taxpayers and shift it more to the very wealthy, who certainly can more afford to start paying their fair share?
Yeah, I'm absolutely for that. I was really disappointed that the fair tax did not pass. That was one of the efforts that we tried to make the wealthy pay their fair share. Unfortunately, that didn't, get the support of the majority of voters in Illinois. But as we formulate the budget for this year, which we have to pass by May 31st, according to the state constitution, we are talking about, cutting tax loopholes and making sure that it's the corporate, it's the corporate loopholes that are cut, and that the wealthy and those who have the means, pay their fair share. That's the only way that we can really, start to move towards a balanced budget, and to make sure that it's fair and progressive, and that, it's the people who, need the services are able to, maintain those services, and that, it's not a regressive budget where, folks who, everyday working people are the ones who carry the burden. We need to make sure that it's that we're cutting the corporate tax loopholes, and the wealthy who are the ones who should be bearing the burden for a balanced budget in Illinois.
Yes, that's right. I know down south here, we have like 25 working coal mines, and they hardly pay any property taxes. So all the cleanup and infrastructure and everything comes back to the property owners here. And so some of our property taxes are as high as in Chicago, and our poverty levels are very high. So there is just a huge imbalance all over the state of Illinois. We've pushed for a coal severance tax for many years here. And I know that would help Illinois out a lot, because they sure do produce a lot of coal, I tell you.
So, as we work on the budget in the next couple of months, we'll be considering, all kinds of ideas to, help us, balance the budget and make sure that, it's done in a progressive way. I'm one of the members of the budget working group, and there are others on there who are also very much concerned about making sure that we maintain a working safety net for folks. This is a very challenging time for a lot of people, and we need to make sure that those who need the help and need the programs that are offered by the state are able to access them, and that we utilize whatever progressive means possible to make sure that the revenues are do not come out of the working people in the state, and that it's from sources that need to be the ones paying their fair share. And if folks have ideas about the budget and progressive revenue, feel free, as I said before, email me, Theresa@theresamah.com, and I'm happy to pass that information along to my colleagues.
I'll definitely do that. We did a study about 3 years ago on that, and it's just like amazing how much revenue we can create for Illinois. So thank you. And I hope other people do that too, because we sure do need to balance some budget here in Illinois and take the burden off the working people, and have, some fair share going on around here. Dr. Mah, I want to thank you so much for all your work, and definitely with the Women Caucus too. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, as I said before, I'm really proud to be a member of one of the largest women's caucuses, in the country. And as I said, there are 39 of us, and those are the women members of the House Democratic Caucus. So we have strength in numbers, and it's great to see the increase in representation and to be a part of that. And, and I want to thank all of you for your engagement and for all your work across the state. I really appreciate the efforts that you contributed to help elect Robin Kelly as the chair of the Democratic Party of Illinois. It means so much to me, and I just really want to thank everyone involved and for all your engagement and commitment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back again. And good luck. If you need anything, reach out. We're going to reach out to you. So thank you.
So much. All right. Take care.
Yeah. And as a reminder, put your questions for our speakers in the Q&A section. If you're watching on Facebook, drop them in the chat. If you're calling in, press *3 to submit a question or to sign up to volunteer or donate. Right now, I'm going to pass it to our great Susanna. Susanna, you still in there?
Yes, I'm hanging in there. So I would like to welcome our next guest. Her name is Dagmara Avelar, but we call her Dee. She was elected state rep of the 85th district, and she was our Revolution endorsed, and we did help her get elected. There's something very personal about Dagmara for me. And so before we get into some questions about the legislature, can you tell us about yourself, your district, and what you're fighting for at the State House, Dagmara?
Oh, I was on mute. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. Again, my name is Dagmara Avelar, and I am the proud state representative for the 85th district, which is a suburban district in DuPage and Will County, who has, for the first time, elected formerly undocumented Latina to represent a district that has pretty much opened up their doors to me and my family since we came here to Illinois in the early 2000s. So I just wanted to say thank you once again for taking the time to be here with us. We know that, you know, our work as public servants, you guide a lot of it. And it's really important for us to have our ear to the ground to see what are some of the issues that we need to continue to advocate for, that we need to continue to be fighting for, because while we might be elected officials, there's nothing stronger than the voice of our communities. So I really thank you for being here. And as far as my legislative agenda, the legislative agenda that I have is a legislative agenda of the people. When I went out door knocking and, during the pandemic, when we had to do a lot of phone calls, time and time again, a lot of the issues that community members were talking about was, how do we afford healthcare access? How do we continue to stay in our homes? How do we continue to thrive as opposed to survive? And we have seen the failures of our systems through the pandemic, right? A lot of people lost their jobs, and through that, they also lost their healthcare coverage. We have people who are literally at the brink of either losing their homes or losing their apartments. And I am so proud of being in a state legislature that is working nonstop to make sure that there's a safety net that continues to advocate and protect those that are most in need.
Awesome. Let me ask you, so the Supreme Court of the United States agreed to hear the federal government appeal against some legal victories obtained against the public rule change in New York, Vermont, and Connecticut. Where do you see this appeal heading, and what will be the implications for Illinois immigration families?
Okay, thank you, Susanna, for that question. I'm assuming that this is the question with regards to public charge. And what I'll say about this is, as somebody who was advocating and actually was proud part of the coalition that sued then President Trump against the public charge rule, it is very, very encouraging for me to say that we no longer have to worry about the new changes for public charge, because that has already been defeated, right? So I think that with that being said, a lot of the damage has been done. We still continue to have families who will be afraid of trying to access safety net benefits because of this stigma that if you do try to access benefits, that it might impact your immigration status. So with that being said, I think that there's still a lot of work that needs to get done. a lot of organizations have continued to do community education and outreach to let people know that it is okay that if they are eligible to apply for any sort of safety net benefits, that they could actually do so. So I'm very elated that this public charge rule was defeated, but there's still a lot of work that we need to get done in order to continue to build trust.
Awesome. So I want to let everyone at home know how wonderful I think that Dagmara is. And Dagmara, I'm going to share a story with you. I think you've met my daughter, Rosalinda. She's 19, young Latino woman. And she told me last night that, and I'm going to cry when I say this probably, that she was so overwhelmed by the work that I do and the work that our revolution does, pushing for and advocating for candidates of color that their faces look just like my daughter's, just like my daughter. So I want you to explain a little bit what it means to you when you see, other children that look like you, that you're there now. Because honestly, in Will County, we have almost zero Hispanic representation. And the area of Will County where I'm from is something like, as of 10 years ago, as of the last census, Joliet was something like 30% Hispanic. I'm sure that's probably closer to 40% Hispanic now. So I want to know what that means to you, and do you see a lot of those faces as you knock on doors, as you legislate? Because you really are an inspiration to everyone.
Thank you, Susanna, for the question. I would say what I think a lot of us who are part of this call know already, right? That representation matters. And when we think about representation, I'm truly thinking about all the tables that we need to be a part of. I vividly remember when I started my master's program, being one of the only Latinas in the room and really questioning whether or not I should even be part of the program. And, I had a great professor who challenged me to think not from a scarcity mindset of I'm not enough, but more from a powerful mindset of this is the reason why you need to be on this table, because many times our voices and concerns are not being voiced because none of us are there, right? So with that being said, I think that, in the past 2 months that I've been, close to 2 months that I've been a state representative, and that I have been able to have meetings as well as I've been able to engage in a couple of conversations with students as well as with community members in the area. I am nothing but humbled to see it's very indescribable for me to say it, but just the affirmation that we are doing something right? And when I say that we are doing something right, is that our community knows that these are spaces that we can take, that our roles are not just the roles of the activist. It's not just the role of the advocate, the teacher, but that we can actually also be the legislators, that we can also be the administrators, right? So I think it's very important for us to be able to continue to occupy these spaces and reach out. Right. I've had a lot of now young candidates who have been reaching out to me to tell me, how did you do it? Right. And I think that it's very important for us to share the wealth. And when I say share the wealth, share all the successes, but also share the failures, because that's how we learn to grow.
Awesome. And what exactly does your district look like as far as representation?
Yeah, so like I said, I have a suburban district, is majority in Will County with about 10% of it in the page. And it's Woodridge, Romeoville, Bolingbrook, Lockport, Crest Hill, and Fairmont. And I would say that each one of the areas has its own, issues that they all care about. But if there's one thing that I know, is that everybody here in this area just wants to have a better life, and they want to do so in community. It is a district that is about 50% white, about 25 24% Latinx, and 16% African American, with then a population that's Asian Pacific Islander and of mixed race. This was not the case 20 years ago. For my folks who lived in Bolingbrook, when I moved to Bolingbrook, we had a lot of cornfields. I can't really say that now in 2021. So this has been an area that has seen an explosion of people coming in. While we have seen that Illinois has suffered from people leaving the state, some of the collar counties have actually seen growth, and Will County is one of them. And the majority of the growth happening is growth of communities of color moving to these areas because of the then affordability of housing.
Okay, I have would you mind a question, Dagmara? Because I have a question from Amy Ziran. What she wants to know is if you think making the fair tax a part of the rhetoric now might impact the next time it's up for a vote.
What I think we need to do with regards to the fair tax is education. In my humble opinion, I think that a lot of the education around the fair tax was a little it was delayed. There's seriously some deep education that we need to do with our community, right? When it comes to trusting the state of Illinois, right, to do what's right with the revenue, but then also think about what does progressive revenue means. With the fair tax, a lot of it is, at the federal level, we have the same progressive tax system that we're trying to implement here in Illinois. So I think that this is a long-term battle. I think that what we need to do is we truly need to explain to our base what it is, what it does, and what we stand to lose. You'll be surprised that, after the elections, when I talk to people and they talk to me about the fair tax and why they voted no, when I told them that, if you vote no, what you could see eventually might be a tax hike because of A, B, and C, then they actually realized, I was only looking at what the news said, and not the news, but the ads said. And if somebody would have explained it to me in that way, I would have thought about it differently. So I think a lot of it, we need to go beyond the ads, and we actually need to do what we do best, right? Which is that grassroots education about why it's important.
Awesome. I cannot tell you how honored we are to have you on. You are definitely a standout person for me. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for fighting for us in the State House. And thank you so much for everything you do. You're just so amazing. So thank you very much for being with us tonight. And I'm going to just let everybody know I'm not on my best game tonight. I had my first coronavirus shot. I've had a bit of a little funny, weird reaction to it. So right now I'm going to send it away to my sister in arms, Georgia De La Garza. Georgia.
Hey, you. How you doing? You hanging in there?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm proud of you. And, I'm proud of all these women on here. It's strength. We all have strength. We all rise up. We rise up for our children. We rise up for our grandchildren. We rise up for each other. And I just want to thank all of you. I'm really grateful to have this night tonight and to share it with these great women who have decided to rise up in strength. So thank you. So we need your continued support. We started this revolution. We want to finish the revolution, and we can't do it without your help. So we kicked off our 2021 Movement Builder membership drive, and we're asking our supporters to become monthly donors in order to continue to grow our organization. In return, you will receive your very own 2021 Movement Builder membership card. It's designed by artist and Our Revolution member, Lauren Rawwing. So tonight, we're asking you all to join us in taking the next step to support the progressive movement and donate $10 monthly today. And you will receive your very own 2021 Movement Builder membership card. The link is in the chat. Please become a member. We're going to be doing a little bit of call to action. I'm going to take that over and I'm going to say, call your senator and ask that they support Illinois Senate Bill 3998 for broadband access. Our kids really need it. You know, down here, especially in these rural areas, man, we really suffered during COVID and, education got behind and, we have that right. We all deserve it. So let's support that bill. Signed petition, demand Congress remove Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene. We all know it needs to be done from the Education and Labor Committee, especially. MTG has waged a war on the LGBTQ community, plus community, particularly the daughter of Illinois 3 Congresswoman Marie Newman. Our Illinois Revolution finds us unacceptable and heinous to attack this community and to attack Evie and Marie Newman. There's a link in the chat. Please sign that petition. And how about repealing parental notice of abortion, P&A law repeal? Check out the bill, HB 1797, SB 2190. We're going to drop that in the chat for you too. Read it, get engaged. Don't forget to sign up for our next statewide meeting featuring Congresswoman and recently elected Democratic State Central Committee Chair, Robin Kelly, Tuesday, April 13th at 7:30 p.m. And let me add, I'm so proud of our team for everything they did to get Robin in there. Boy, we need her in there. Next statewide meeting, Tuesday, April 13th at 7:30 p.m. The link is in the chat. We also have some local organizing meetings that we'd like you all to sign up for. Our Revolution Lake County meeting, March 10th, that's at 7 p.m. I think we also have a Progressives of Kane County meeting on March 10th. I think that's at 7 p.m. We have our Revolution Chicago Cook County meeting on March 23rd at 7 p.m. We have our Illinois Revolution Downstate meeting, support your downstate candidates at March 30th at 7 p.m. And a Will County Progressives meeting, April 6th, supporting their candidates at 7 p.m. Please sign up for these calls and join us because we're going to have more of what we had tonight. So we want to thank all of you for your support and for joining tonight's call and celebrating Women's Month with us. It was an honor. A special thanks to all of our volunteers and all of our donors. Before we end the call, there's something we always do. Everybody unmute. You ready? Let's do our chant. When we organize, we win. We win. One more time. When we organize, we win. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.